All right, all right. Hello, 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 hello. Everybody can hear me, hopefully. Master GPTs, how to master custom GPTs and projects today, Friday, 11th of July at 1 p.m. GMT. A very good Friday. It's a beautiful Friday. I'm loving it already. We're going to have some fun. If you know our sessions, they are fun, they're productive, they're full of value, they're very hands on. They are what else, right? They're just very, very transparent and so on, right? So I'm not standing. Um, yeah, I can't stand at the moment because I'm a bit wobbly, taking a lot of meds. But here we are. Um, but here we are. We're gonna build some custom GPTs, and then we're gonna also use projects because projects got a really nice little update that not many knows. And the project updates is really really cool because I'll show you a couple of tricks with the projects. You can do some really cool stuff now, which you couldn't before. And also, custom GPTs have some really cool new features, right? I mean, I think the one super important feature finally for custom GPTs is here. So let me start sharing and walk you through a little bit and show you what's possible and what's not, I guess, right? So let me just get my window up. Thank you. All right, here's my window. All right, you can see my ChatGPT, hopefully. Let me make a bit of space here, guys. Hopefully you can hear me okay, you can see me okay. If you're live, message us on the chat. There's a bit of delay, but would love to hear from you guys. You know, where are you joining from? Who are you? You know, share this with others. You know, others should also join. You know, this is free training basically. This is absolutely free training for everybody. So invite your friends, share it on your account, you know, get people involved. You know, what else can I say? Right. So we got ChatGPT open, right? So custom GPTs, and don't call them just GPTs because what happens is that a lot of people call ChatGPT GPT, and a lot of people call it chat according to your, I think, age, I guess, right? According to the generation that you're from. I think the younger ones call it chat, and then the older ones call it GPT. But ChatGPT is ChatGPT. ChatGPT is the front end of the different models. It's a product, right? And custom GPTs, um, you can call them GPTs normally, but because you call ChatGPT GPT, then it doesn't make sense, right? Custom GPTs are little mini versions of your ChatGPT with some instructions, with some knowledge documents, with some actions that it can take. By the way, right? Not many people use the actions, so we're going to look into that today. And of course, also now we have the model selector in custom GPTs, which is really awesome stuff because we didn't have the model selector before, right? So before, your custom GPT had only one model and you couldn't do much about it. And I mean, it didn't suck because it was always cool. But what was happening is that you only had 4.0. You only could do like good tasks around, you know, content creation, things like that, and nothing very on like advisor, strategist, and stuff like that. It wasn't really working very well on that because we didn't have the model selector, right? So I think that's very important. So before we dive into that, let's say hi to Sarah. Sarah from sunny Bloomington. I'm glad that it's sunny there. It's very sunny here. Right. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for your support and share. Bring more people as well, right? And yeah, finding my insights are gold. Thank you very much, Sarah. Yeah, that's a really good one to put on the screen. Thank you. All right. Well, insights are gold, people. You know, so here we are. We're on custom GPTs today, and then projects as well. Okay, because projects are really cool now. All right, so let's go to custom GPTs. First of all, when you open up your little menu bar, your sidebar, remember this is quite new and sleek. It's a nice little design. I wish they had a button for custom GPTs here as well. Like, I think they should do that. There should be a button for GPTs. We don't have that yet. But let's just open it up. If you click on here under Sora, you potentially don't have Operator or Codex, guys, because you're not on the Pro plan. You're on the Plus plans potentially, or you're on Teams plans, right? Maybe you have Sora, maybe not. I'm not sure. It changes from countries and so on. So let's not get involved in that. But if you click on GPTs, right? So let's click on GPTs and hope that it opens. Yeah, here we go. So GPTs, right? As I mentioned, it's a custom version of ChatGPT, right? And wow, okay, it says exactly what we said earlier. So that's great. It's a custom versions of ChatGPT that combine instructions, extra knowledge, so documents that you can upload, and any combination of skills. So skills, but also actions. So you can tap into different APIs, tap into different tools, tap into different databases, and many other things, which takes the GPTs into an advanced mode, right? Cool. So when you click on GPTs, you come to this Explore GPTs, right? This Explore GPTs is your GPT marketplace, is your GPT store, So there's a lot of great stuff, whatever you want, you could say strategy, and I'm sure you'll find something about your e-commerce strategy or whatever, right? You can always find, as you can see, business consultant, strategy, product management, strat GPT, brand strategy co-pilot, HR strategy genius, whatever. So you can use these custom made GPTs for a very specific use case, right? Which is really fun. But today we're going to really look into building our own, right? And we have some really nice new cool features. If you go down inside the store, you'll find according to the categories, which is okay, right? Just to make sure everybody knows what we're looking at. But let's go to first, I'll go to my GPTs on the top right. You also have the create button. If you click create, you will automatically start creating one. If you click my GPTs, you'll see my GPTs, right? I have a bunch of really cool GPTs, okay? Right, that I use a lot. Especially, I think I use mostly my life coach is a really good GPT, right? I wouldn't pay a life coach, right? That's me. I'm sure, I'm sorry if there are any life coaches out there. Yes, you should get paid, but I never thought of getting a life coach, but because of custom GPTs, I have a great life coach, right? And it's very custom to exactly what I want. So that's the gold, right? Okay. And I have a bunch more, right? But let's create one. So let's click on create a GPT. So when we create a GPT, we have this left section where we're building stuff, and then we have this right section where we're previewing testing stuff, right? So a very new feature from last time we've done any custom GPTs, or I've talked about custom GPTs, the new feature is that you can actually switch models now, right? Before you had only one model, which was the default model. You couldn't change it. Now you can use your GPTs with different models, right? We have a video about models, I think somewhere on our LinkedIn events. You can look at a couple of weeks ago or so you can watch that if you want to understand which models are best, but we'll tap into it a little bit, right? So now you can switch which model you can use in your custom GPTs. I think this is mind-blowing stuff, right? So I've updated most of my GPTs. I had my life coach was on 4.0. It was okay, but I switched it to 0.3 now, and it's just like, wow, right? I'm in love with my life coach again, right? It was great at first, and then I was like, it's okay. And now it's just like mind-blowingly good because it's using a reasoning model, an advanced reasoning model, right? And I think that's where the benefit is, right? Is switching these models in your custom GPTs and knowing which custom GPT should be using which model, right? According to what it does. And a very quick overview on that. If you're generating some type of content, right, I'm okay with 4.0. But if you're doing anything strategic, mind, brainstorming, mind mapping, whatever, or like, really doing something that we're going to make decisions with, and you want something a little bit more advanced, you definitely should switch to a reasoning model like O3, right? Okay. Cool. So on the left side, we're building. On the right side, we're previewing. We've said that. On the left side, we have two tabs, right? We have the create tab and the configure tab. I call these beginners mode and advanced modes, right? And that's okay because you should start in beginners mode anyways. I even start in beginners mode, then I switch onto the advanced mode. Okay, so in the beginners mode, we can decide on what we're gonna build. We can tell it what we're gonna build. We can start kind of slowly building it here, and it's going to do a few really cool things, but then we're going to get limited at some point, and then we're going to switch to the advanced mode very quickly, right? So let me build one, okay? Let's build something cool. What should we build? Any ideas, put on the comments. If not, I think, yeah, all right, let's build let's build an assistant for our marketing team, right? Since Andrea is here, let's build a CMO advisor, CMO strategic advisor for AR operator, right? For our business, right? So that Andrea can have since she's on her own in the marketing team. I mean, no, we have now a video editor. He's super cool as well, right? But I think that it'd be good to have a strategic advisor. All right, so I'm gonna kind of hack my way to do this a bit quicker than just typing, right? I have a very quick little prompt here. Let's build a marketing strategic advisor for AI operator. This marketing strategic advisor should help our head of marketing and the whole team at AI operator take better marketing decisions. Overview some of the strategies, some of the goals, and really support marketing in many different ways to make our marketing team stronger with this GPT, with this assistant. Right. So my little quick hack is that I have a very quick dictation tool in the back end, so I can just tell it things. Right. So yeah, that's quite cool. It's a very small little goal that I'm saying about this GPT. Right. So I've sent that. You can already see that it's updating the GPT. Right. So what's happening in the back end, that it's already configuring some stuff, which I'll show you in a second. Right. So that's cool. Right. Great. I've set up the behavior. You can see that things have changed very quickly already. Right. So we got on the right side now, we have some conversation starters. We call these conversation starters. Right. We have a little description. We don't have an image or a name yet because it's asking us strategic marketing partner sounds good. Yeah, why not? Yeah. Or would you prefer? No, I think that's strategic marketing partners good. Right. So let's do that. Yeah, that's good. Let's do strategic marketing partner is good. Okay, so we're okay with that name. Perfect. It's going to generate the profile picture now. It's going to change the name. You'll see the name change on the top left where it says new GPT, and here, right? And it's giving us a terrible image, right? It's an awful image, but let's just say yes, cool, right? Just to be a bit faster, right? Uh, Okay, cool. All right, great question from Sarah for the end. I definitely will tap into that. So this is great. We got some really cool stuff here. Right, we got our name, we got our description, we got our little conversation starters. You'll understand a bit more about these, right? And it's starting to ask me some questions like, what should be emphasized or avoided in its responses? For example, should it always focus on strategic impact, avoid generic tips? Yeah, absolutely. A strategic impact, specific tips for AI operator, and nothing generic, right? Okay, this is awesome. So we're giving a bit of feedback on those. Like it asks you some relevant questions, and I'll show you some hacks on how to do these faster at some point. This is awesome. Yeah, this is going cool. All right, so got it. Responses will emphasize strategic impact and be tailored specific to AI operator. Steering clear of anything generic. That's good. Should it sound formal or casual? Or we want casual. We want casual. Definitely casual. This is good stuff. We want it to be casual. This is awesome. All right, so here we are. This is starting to ask us a little bit of questions. Okay, this is good stuff. My naked daughter just walked in, guys. 1 second. All right, so all right, yeah. So naked daughter in the house. It's school holidays, so sometimes I get bored of, it's fun. It's fun. All right, cool. Awesome. All right. So If you want to give it a test run, you can do it on the right side, right? Things like that. But let's get into the more advanced mode now, okay? So the advanced mode is basically us switching from create to configure, okay? So let's switch to configure. Here we go. Ooh, okay, it's filled up some stuff, right? So we have the name, the description, as we can see on the right side. This is powered by this, right? And we got a bit of instructions. And if you did this like a few months, no, maybe 6 months ago or so, it was really bad at instructions. Like it would just give tiny bit of instructions. But now if I open the instructions, as you can see, it's giving a bit of instruction. Like it's a bit more specific, right? Right, and you can add, this is up to 8,000 characters if it hasn't changed. So you can add, what I usually do is I start separating these things a little bit. I would use a model like race, so I would kind of give it a role. You can delete this after, right? So what I would do is I would give it a role, right? I would say, okay, this GPT acts as a marketing strategy advisor for AI operator team. It's going to power the head of marketing and the broader marketing team to make smarter, faster. This is good. All right, this is quite good, right? It reviews. Okay, so that's its role, right? So then you can give it some actions, right? It's still giving a bit of role here. Aware of SaaS B2B, not really. More about SMBs. So I would change. It must be highly context aware um, of SMBs and AI transformation for SMBs. I mean, I would clean that up a bit, right? And I like to separate these a little bit because then you start getting a little bit more cleaner, so you could kind of give it some actions, right? To give it some actions, then give it some context, right? So maybe it'll be repetitive there, but I would give it some context, like, what is AI operator, okay, and some expectations, right? Expectation would be, a clear tips, tricks on how to position AI operator to be, the top number one, to be the top number one AI transformation partner. Right? Things like that. A bit more context. What is it? AI operator. AI operator is an AI transformation partner for SMBs. It's a bit repetitive here for SMBs, right? And then you would kind of add a bit more information. I'll show you a quick hack instead of doing this, right? So let's kind of hack this then while we're here. All right, let's just take this, right? Let's copy this, right? And then let me open up a new tab and share a new tab with you guys. And I'm gonna hack this to be a bit quicker. Okay. So I come in here and I'm using O3 in a new chat, and I'm gonna say, something like, hey, I'm building a custom GPT. For now, I got this, but please customize this for AI operator from your memory, knowledge, and chat history about AI operator, right? I think this is a good quick hack. Okay, so I just brought that in. I'm coming to ChatGPT with those three, asking it to use things from its memory and from its knowledge about what we do at AI operator, right? It's going to be much better. As you can see, boom. All right, it's getting very specific now, right? Because it knows our ICP, it knows exactly our ICP, it knows what we do, right? It knows already some of the strategies I work with, right? And here we go. I mean, like, context aware, interaction protocol. This is good. Deliverable examples. Yeah, it knows that we're big on LinkedIn and YouTube, right? That's cool. As you can see, all this stuff is, yeah, I mean, this is getting much better, isn't it? Right? So I can just copy this, or you can, what I would do if I had the time, but I want to be quick for you guys, is to stay on this chat, add some stuff, add some documents, talk to it, and get a really, really, really good instruction. But I think this is an awesome start, right? So I'll go back to put this in here, right? Because as we saw, it's much cleaner. Let's just get rid of all this stuff. Boom. right? Yeah, it's quite good. Sarah said something. Love the idea of spelling out race in the GPT instruction. Yeah, I think spelling it out is great for you to be able to really structure it, right? And then you can delete the actual race, right? Race is something that we teach on our second or third week of or our training program and in like advanced prompting. And at some point, we expect our students and so on to forget about it, but because the mindset change, I mean, our training program is called the AI First Mindset Training Program, right? Um, then the mindset changes and they know automatically how to do this. Yes, but you can also, yes, label it if you want to. As you can see here, I can keep the role and the purpose, right? The core responsibilities, the context where I'll keep all that stuff, right? I'll remove this as well. Just to show you the limits of this, let's see if we can duplicate this. You should have about 8,000. Oh, we were able to still, yeah, I've duplicated 3 times. Oh no, here we go. So yeah, so nice. All right, so it should be about 8,000 characters. So you got quite a big room on doing this, guys, right? Okay, so continue adding stuff to it, no problem. Just make sure it's structured logically and there is no fluff, there's no extra information, right? Things like that. And we kind of did that for ours. We give some guardrails, some deliverable examples, some interaction protocols, some context awareness, and some core responsibilities, right? We did it with all three, right? I'd spend a bit more time, give some documents, give our marketing strategy, and a few other things, and really nail this down. But this is, I think, perfect, right, for the use case of today. So some of the great, awesome new things is this, right? So first of all, before that, let's talk about the knowledge files. You can upload knowledge files, right? You can upload PDFs, docs, CSVs, sheets, whatever you want, right? You can upload a bunch of stuff, right, to be referred to. If you're doing this inside the instructions, explain something like you have access to these docs. Use these docs for this reason, for that reason, right? You want to make sure that it knows what documents it has access to and when it would use which document, right? Because if it knows all this stuff, right, as it knows this stuff, it's going to know when to use which document, right? And it's going to go much faster for you, right? So it's going to basically be like, oh, okay, I need to use this document for this, right? So that's important. I think a lot of us don't do that, right? And then that's a very big place that we're missing out, right? Okay, so if you add documents, create a new little section, say docs you have access to, right? So here we're using Markdown, right? So I'll say 6 doc access, right? Or knowledge or something like that, okay? And I would say, you have access to this doc called, let's say marketing strategy docx, right? If you give the full name, it likes it a lot. Use this for referencing our quarterly strategy or something like that, right? So, and you keep doing this, right? You do this for each document you've created. Another little hack here that not a lot of us do is to give some scenarios, some kind of almost like use cases, but like conversations, right? Like where you put you put user, hey, let's work on our marketing goals, right? Our marketing goals, and then you put something like GPT or assistant, right? Great. Let me check my docs, and then I can ask you which goals would you like to talk about, right? Or to work on, right? To work on is better, to work on, right? So here, what I've done is I'm starting to give it a little bit of a like, if user asks you this is how the assistant should kind of behave and answer, right? By giving these role plays, it gets much better at knowing when, you know, to do what and how to answer and behave, right? So if you give a few of these different role plays, it gets much better, right? It gets really, really much better, right? So you give these kind of role plays, and you call it like role play or scenarios, use cases, something like that, right? And then you upload your files, right? So you upload your strategy file and so on, okay? And then make sure that you're telling it when to use which file, how to use which file. I think that that's a huge benefit that we miss out on massively, right? A lot of people forget that. Then they're telling me, oh, I have files in the knowledge. It didn't access them. It didn't do this. It hallucinated, right? People say that to me, and I'm like, well, have you put in the instructions when to use what, right? And how to use it and so on, right? So people really forget that, right? So that's very important to do that, okay? So one of the newest features that I really love, oh, by the way, you can upload up to 20 docs. If I haven't said that, I think 20 docs. Um, Image heavy PDFs, it can handle them now better than before, but it's not very friendly, right? So it takes a bit more time. It slows down. You know, if you really don't need those images in your PDFs, don't put them, right? It loves lots of text documents and stuff like that, right? So think about your documents. You know, prepare your documents for your custom GPTs before coming here. I use Markdown, right? I use pure text files, Markdown files, because I know AI loves Markdown. Large language models love Markdown, right? So Markdown, you can research it. You can ask us. Markdown is quite an easy format, right? This is kind of Markdown, right? So when you have, four hashtags is a H4, is a heading 4, and so on, right? So these are Markdowns. Cool. So what I really love is this new feature, guys. Like this is, I mean, I can't believe that we waited for like over I don't know how many years now, in AI time, especially many years. But in real time, when did the custom GPTs come alive? What, a year and a half ago, something like that? Maybe close to 2 years, no, a year and a half, something like that. And I can't believe that they didn't let us choose which model we wanted. Yeah, so I think mid 2024. Yeah, so just about a year, I guess, right? So this is incredible, guys. Right? Before we were stuck, there was no recommended model. So now, because I know this is a strategic thing, right? It's a strategic marketing partner. I definitely won't use 4.0. I would use O3, right? O3 is a good reasoning model, is powerful enough, right? So I would definitely use that, right? And this is really cool because I'll show you something here. Let's create this very quickly, right? Just to show you what happens here. Right, so I've created my custom GPT. I've shared it just as with the link, so it's not super public. I can give the link to other people, like my head of marketing, right? So let's close that. So what I want to show you now very quickly, let me just tap back in here just to show you something. Right. So now let me find that GPT, right? I go to my GPTs, right? I'm going to find that GPT, strategic marketing partner. I'm going to click on it. So I'm talking to my strategic marketing partner. As you can see, now it's O3, right? It wants to use O3 right away. Why? Because I'm the creator of the GPT and I recommend O3 for this GPT, right? But this, as you can see, using the creator's recommended model O3, right? Okay. But this doesn't mean that you can't switch it anymore, right? You can switch, right? We have this little label, GPT creator recommended, okay? And then we have our different models that we can use. Let's say that you used it and you got some strategy for something and you wanted to create some content from that, you can switch it to 4.0, right? Why not, right? And you get this little blue that is saying, hey, be careful, you're using the model that the creator didn't recommend, right? But that's fine because I'm going to create content. I know that 4.0 is better at creating content than O3. O3 is great at strategy. It's so smart, right? Smart. Yeah. So you can switch back. So this is great. This is all new, guys. This is like what, 2 weeks old, not even, right? Or something like that. I talked about it on my LinkedIn as well. I think I even have a YouTube about this potentially. Yes, I think I have a YouTube about this, right? A YouTube video. So check it out. It's great to be able to switch this, right? This is awesome stuff. This wasn't there before. So yes, watch videos about the latest AI updates on my YouTube channel. Subscribe to it, share it. We're really focusing on growing the YouTube channel, right, of my first name last name together, right? Cool. And it's all free content, very specific to businesses and so on, right? Cool. So let me go back to my building, right, just to finalize the GPT before we jump into our projects, right? So I've said O3, right? Great, awesome stuff. But now it's like, okay, what are the capabilities you want this GPT to have, right? This GPT should have web search, right? Because we might want to ask something like latest trends in AI strategies and so on, AI marketing strategies, things like that, right? We might want to have web search. I think web search is good. Canvas for sure, because we're going to work on documents, right? Canvas is the thing that opens on the side. I have a YouTube video about that as well, right? For image generation, I'm not sure I'm going to use this for image generation, to be honest. So I'll turn that off. And then people ask me, they're like, why do you turn things on and off? It reduces the amount of potential errors, right? If I had everything on and it thought it's like, oh, okay, let me generate an image, right? Because it has the capability, it's going to go and start generating an image, and you'll be like, no, I don't want you to generate an image. We were focusing on the strategy, right? And sometimes you don't want it to search the web. You just want it to ask you questions and talk to you, right? So you turn that off. The more capabilities it has, the more it might decide on different things, right? So the less capabilities it has, or the most relevant capabilities it has, there's a bigger chance that it's going to do what you want, right? So I remove for image generation. I would leave code interpreter and data analysis, because this is basically allowing to run code, upload files, analyze data, generate downloadable files, perform math, and so on, right? So this is basically where it starts creating some Python code to be able to analyze things and do things, right? So it's not just the large language model doing this, but code can also do this, right? And that's very important if you want to do anything mathematical. And let's say that strategic marketing partner, I want my head of marketing or myself to be able to upload some of our CSVs with some marketing numbers, right? Some analytics from Google or something like that. And I want to be able to do some dashboards and some analysis and stuff like that, right? I'm definitely going to use this for that, right? So I think code interpreter and data analysis makes a lot of sense. Okay, so this is like really, if you can do all this already and you can build a bunch of these, you're already ahead of a lot of people, right? I was talking to someone yesterday and it was hilarious because they didn't even know to switch the model. They're like, oh, I use 4.0 because it's the best model. And I was like, wow. And then like O3 is a lesser smarter model. Like, it's not less smart. No, O3 is much more powerful. It's O3, not O3.0, right? O3, I know the naming is really bad. They've not done a good job. I know they're going to change this soon, right? So we're going to have one model that does everything is coming. But I think that, a lot of people are still even struggling with changing models, right? So, and not knowing when to change models. So if you can build custom GPTs with certain models, because, you want to do something strategic, you use O3. You want to use something with content generation, you do 4.0. Or you want to do LinkedIn posts that sounds natural, you might want to do 4.5. Right? You want to do something more about coding, you might want to do 4.1 or 4.1 mini, right? You want to do something reasoning that is a bit faster, or 4 mini or 4 mini high grade, but I think O3 is the winner at the moment, or O3 Pro, if you're okay to wait. If you're okay to wait for like a few minutes for a task, right, then O3 Pro is a great model. But again, O3 Pro, I think, is an overkill for a lot of stuff, because O3 Pro is great at, like scientific research and like academic research. Like, it's very, very advanced, right? We don't need that model for most of our use cases. So O3 is a great one for strategy, right? So while people are struggling even to think about changing models, you're building custom GPTs. And I say this in my trainings, is like, build your first. Let's say that you are a head of marketing, right? Let's say Andrea, right? A great example, because she's here and she loves it when I pick on her, right? Let's say that Andrea is the head of marketing. Not, let's say she's the head of marketing at Operator. What would be the first 10 GPTs she might create, right? She might create one to help her with the LinkedIn events. She might create one to help her with social media posts, LinkedIn specific. She might use one for website copy, right? She might build one for things like strategic marketing partner, right? She might build one for you know let's say PR research or things like that, right? So that's her first 10 of them. But then if you want to go another level, 100, like you want to build 100 of GPTs, then you can get even more specific. You can say a GPT that creates the LinkedIn descriptions, right? A GPT that creates the YouTube video descriptions, a GPT that creates, the exact email for PR reach out, right? So you can get more and more specific. So you can start a little bit more overall GPTs, and then you can go much more specific. And founders, like especially solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, new founders, what's the first 10 people you're going to hire? Build GPTs for it. Then what's the 100 people you're going to hire? Build GPTs for it, right? If you start thinking like that, you can have a really great time building GPTs, right? That's how I think about GPTs. Okay, cool. The more specific you get, the more space you have about that specific task, that specific skill that you want, right? You have 8,000 characters in the instructions. You can upload the files and so on, right? So that's mostly great. Uh, but I get people, I don't think you can see this because of the name. So I don't know. Let me see if I can zoom in and you can see it better. Oh, all right, let's see if we can zoom in. You see this button on the bottom left called create new action, right? So actions, there is nothing here. So you can click create new action. This is really good stuff. Not many people use. So I'll click on that. When you click on actions, this is really the advanced of custom GPTs, right? What do I mean by that? This is when you want to tap into different programs, different APIs, different databases. You want to take your GPT outside the box, right? So that it's not just in ChatGPT with the information that it has on the training and that it has on what you're putting or on the knowledge docs, but it's, hey, I want to bring in information. I want to pull information from different places, or I want to push information to different places so that I could do some kind of agentic tasks, right? That's really cool, right? If you think about it, right? So let's say that we wanted this to go to Google Analytics and actually bring the latest numbers of AI Operator website stuff, right? So yes, we can do that. Okay, so we can kind of come in here, an API key or an OAuth, right? We would have to check which one is the GA for APIs, right? So which we can find out in a second, right? You have some examples like whether JSON. JSON is a programming language, right? You have a pet story, a YAML is another language, or you have a blank template to understand how schemas work. Hey, you don't have to be a coder to understand any of this stuff. So I'll show you how. So you click on here, get help from Actions GPT, right? This little button. This is going to open a new tab. I'll switch to that tab called Actions GPT by ChatGPT, right? And here I'm going to say, hey, I want to build an action that queries GA4. That's that simple, right? Okay, right. Here we go, right? So it needs some requirements. Okay, GA4 I think is a little bit more complex, but you can definitely do it. To build a custom OpenAI action that queries Google Analytics, you need to interface with the Google Analytics data API v1. That's good. You must authenticate, so you need to go there, authenticate and stuff. But what's really cool is minimal OpenAI 3.1.0 spec, right? Which is a run report, right? So here we go. As you can see, right? So we have all this stuff already. So you can kind of copy this, right? And you can go back, right, to your GPT. And you can add this here, right? I'm gonna have errors because I don't have the, the authorizations and stuff like that, right? But I just want to show you this very quickly. If I can save this, let me see if I can save this. I know I don't have a privacy policy. Your privacy policy, get your website privacy policy, put it on there. That's a quick hack, right? But of course, you want to make sure that you have the correct privacy policy, right? It's to take to you, right? Cool. So let's say you build this, and I'm showing you why I built that, right? Because that makes a new action. So now I have an analytics data Google API. That one is not going to work. And you're like, yeah, Tim, I can't get it to work. Yes, because I was very quick. If you want to make it work, go back to your Actions GPT where you talk about this. Go do the integration. Go do the steps it's telling you. Read through all the stuff, right? And then you'll see that in no time you'll be able to make it work, right? You don't have to be a coder. You just have to be curious and you just have to read, right? You have to read, ask questions, and do the actions. Don't be lazy, right? That's the problem I think that a lot of people are having with these kind of things. They're like, wow, I couldn't build it. Let me just give up. Don't give up, right? Learning these things is gold, right? Okay. So you've done that action. You can do multiple actions, by the way, right? Let's say that we also had a HubSpot, right? Which we don't, but I could click on that again, and I could say, I want an action that takes HubSpot marketing numbers from our HubSpot, right? I mean, it's a bit repetitive, but I'm doing this just to show you that you can do a few of these, right? And here we go. It's going to help you take these information from your HubSpot account, right? HubSpot marketing emails, OpenAI spec. This is good. Let's take that. Let's just copy this for the sake of today's session. Let's say that we added that, okay? And it's going to call that something, right? Get email performance. So now my GPT has also two actions: analytics data, Google APIs, API, Hub API, right? So now, right, one thing to remember, okay, so we have these actions, right? So we have this action which can get email performance. By the way, one API can have many different actions inside as well, right? And then this has analytics data, which is run reports, right? Run GA4 reports, so Google Analytics 4 report, okay? Same things like the knowledge documents, right? Why don't you come in here, right, and add a section called actions and say, when user asks about website analytics, use the GA for or was it get GA4 report action to pull live information from the Google Analytics account. Okay, I'm not typing really well, right? And then you say, when user asks about email data, make sure to use the HubSpot actions, right? Or whatever, right? Make sure to also name him with the right names, because you're just making it like almost dummy proof, idiot proof, right? And what happens is that when the user asks something about that, the GPT says, oh shit, I do have these actions. Let me just tap into these actions because I'm going to be faster and I'm going to be great at this, right? So you really want to explain these things. Take your time and explain these things, right? So great, my GPT has, two actions that doesn't work really well because I don't want to spend the time right now, right? And what you can do, so the last couple of little hacks here, right? So if you're here, right, you can kind of start talking to your GPT and so on. But let's say that you're in a new chat and you've been doing some stuff about, let's say that you're on Foro, because a lot of people use Foro. I know that's their default. Let's say that you did a LinkedIn post, let's do this, create a quick LinkedIn post about the training program, right? So very bad little prompt, but it has enough memory to actually bring a quite an okay LinkedIn post, right, for me, because it knows it's 12 weeks, it knows how we do stuff. And you're like, oh, okay, but I want to check, if we sent this in an email last time on HubSpot or something like that, right? So you can go at, right, and you can call in that marketing strategic advisor. As you can see now inside a chat, I can call this in and say, what was the latest emails we sent about our training program, right? Of course, it's not going to work, right? But you see what I mean? So I'm calling this GPT, right, to do something with this GPT inside the same chat, and this chat and this GPT now has the same context because it has the context that is on the chat thread, right? And you don't have to give up there because you can call in all your different GPTs in each time, right? So here I could call in, something else, a training session summarizer or whatever GPT I have. I can kind of call in these GPTs inside one chat thread to do a strategy, to do work, to do things together, right? So this is a great little hack that not many people realize. It's at call in your GPT. Right now on O3, sadly, that's why I think I switched there. When you're on O3, you cannot call in other GPTs, right? Which sucks a little bit, right? But I think that's going to change very quickly. Okay, so that's really the little quick hacks about GPTs, right? But there's a couple of things missing about GPTs, like you can't do advanced voice mode, right? So let's say that we started this. Let's go back to to using our GPT very quickly, right? I'm gonna use a different GPT, or let me just use whatever GPT, doesn't matter, right? The thing is, when you click on here or use voice mode, you are not going to get the advanced voice mode, right? As you can see on the bottom, it says start a new chat to use advanced voice mode, right? So it doesn't have voice mode, the advanced voice mode, which I love the advanced voice mode. This voice mode doesn't suck, but I have to finish speaking. Then it's sending the thing, right, the message, to then answer me.
Yeah, you're right. This voice mode doesn't have the
Right.
advanced.
So it's not that cool, right? So you can't really use custom GPTs with advanced voice mode. But I found a hack, on projects, right? So let's look at the projects now very quickly. So that was custom GPTs, guys. Okay. So projects, right? So we have something called here projects, right? So a new project, right? Sales FUs or follow-ups, level 10 team meetings. I have some client projects. I have a bunch of different projects, and projects are really good. Okay. And I'll show you my CFO one, right? Why not, right? Okay, cool. So this project, right, I can switch also the model inside my project for sure. I can use those three. And now you can use tools inside projects. Before you couldn't do that. That's really new. That's a week old or something like that. So you can use your deep research. You can do your image. You're searching the web, your canvas, right? Especially, deep research, you can use it with your different sources, right? This is really cool because if you think about it, right, this is my CFO, right? If I enable deep research with my Google Drive, and I tell it that I have a sheet about our numbers, right, about our financials, it's going to go deep research that, and then it's going to bring that. But also, it's going to have the instructions, right? So it's like the custom GPTs. It has instructions. You are the AI CFO assistant for AI operator. This is your strategic financial advisor, blah, 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 right? It has all these kind of instructions. This is really cool. You can also add files. It says that it may not be accessible, but it may not be, right? And it's tested. It's accessible most of the time. I tested it. My file is accessible, by the way, right? This is the transactions of whole half year of 2025, right? And it is accessible, by the way, right? But what I love about this, let's just turn these off. Inside projects, right? Projects are great because you can have your chats all, layered kind of here, so you remember what you're doing and you work on these things. And each time you start a chat, it has the instruction and it has access to the files, and of course you can enable the tools, or it has access to the tools if it decides to use them, right? Cool. But one thing that I discovered that I really love is, I hope you guys can hear this, but it has access to the voice mode, right? So if I click use voice mode, hey, what's your role?
Hey, so
What's your role?
hey, I'm here to help out with anything related to strategic financial advice, planning, and analysis. Think of me as your go-to for anything finance related, whether it's budgeting, forecasting, or just making strategic decisions for your business. Let me know what you need.
Amazing. Thank you very much. I hope you guys heard that, right? But what happened is that basically, when I'm inside a project, right? And I have instructions, I can actually use the advanced voice mode. This is not even promoted anywhere, by the way. This is a hack that I'm giving you guys. Not many people knows. I think none of those content creators on LinkedIn knows about this, right? This is super cool because this is always what I dreamt of, right? To have custom GPTs with advanced voice mode. Imagine that. Imagine my life coach with advanced voice mode, right? And I didn't do that yet, but I'm going to do it. But I started to actually create these advisors, the CFO and stuff like that, so that I can actually speak to my CFO, right? This is super cool, right? Remember that now when you create a project, let's create a quick project together. So you come in, you say new project, right? Let's say that we were doing that strategic marketing advisor, strategic marketing advisory. I'm going to say why here advisory, because it's a project, it's not a GPT, so it's not actually a role that I'm giving, but it's more like a whole project. I create the project, yeah, and then I'm going to go give my instructions, right? You are a strategic advisor for the AI operator marketing team, and blah blah blah, right? Which is really bad my typing at the moment. let's say you gave all those instructions, right? You gave some marketing files, right? You added your files. The great thing is, one, you can switch models, but I don't believe the model makes sense when doing voice mode. I think it goes back to 4.0, by the way, right? So it doesn't go to 0.3 yet, which I think hopefully we're going to get that very soon, right? But if I click use voice mode now, who are you?
I'm here to be your
Who are you?
I'm basically your friendly AI assistant. I can help you with anything from brainstorming ideas to giving advice
Do
on
you, do you do you have a role in the instructions?
I do have a bit of info about my role in the instructions. Essentially, I'm here to help you and the AI operator team with marketing strategies, planning, and
Awesome, awesome. As you can see, right? So um, I was able to literally give it some role, right? So I suddenly have one that has a role, right? This is awesome, right? So which you couldn't before, right? So now you can actually have advanced voice modes with some instructions, right? Which is really cool because you really couldn't do this before, and this is something that I've always wanted. And I'm guessing that this is coming to other places as well, right? Like to custom GPTs and so on. So don't forget, you can create a project, give it some instructions and files, start the advanced voice mode. Projects are great because they were first, I think this is how I use them first. I use them just to clean up my chats. I mean, imagine this is my cleaned up chats, right? This is all cleaned up basically, right? And they're, things that I want to keep according to project or client, right? They're all already integrated and they've added in there, right? So if you want to move something, let's say that you wanted to move this, you can come in, right? Ooh, you can move this and then you can actually put it inside your project, which, why am I not having a great time right now? Here we go, right? Yeah. So you can add to project and you can move the specific things. Okay. So if you can't move one, it's because it started with a GPT, right? If that happens, there's another hack, right? And the hack is go to your desktop app, your Mac desktop app. You can actually, in the Mac desktop app, even if it started with a custom GPT, you can move it into a project, but you can't on the web app, right? So that's the limitations, right? I test these every day, so I can tell you the limitations. So come to me and ask me about the limitations, right? And the hacks around, the desktop app can do stuff, the web app can do other stuff, right? So you have to know when to do where, what kind of thing, where, and stuff like that. It's a bit fiddly, I know. Hopefully it'll be a little bit easier soon, but so that's projects, guys. I think projects are going to get more powers for sure. I know that now you can kind of start sharing project chats. I know there's a question somewhere. Yes, I'm going to tackle that. So you can kind of share conversation with audio is not supported, so you can share one without audio, right? And so on, right? So projects are good. Soon we're going to have more project features where you can collaborate together. I think I saw them saying something about that. I don't think everybody has access to that yet, but basically, we should have soon. We should have a way that me and my team members can work on a project together, right? Which we still don't have that, right? So we don't have it. I know you can share one conversation inside it, like we used to be able to, right? So you can kind of share this conversation with your colleague, right? And they can continue on it, right? Any message you add after sharing will be visible to members of your workspace. Project files and content won't be accessible. Oh, look at that. This is new. Before, I wouldn't see if something was added, right? So let's say that I shared this with Andrea. She would be able to continue with the conversation, but I wouldn't be able to see what she's added, right? So that's great. So now you can do that, but project files and custom instructions won't be accessible via the shared link. Not yet, right? Hopefully that's going to change soon as well, because the goal is to make these projects collaborative, right? Especially in the Teams plan, right? That's why I switched on the Teams plan. Because on the Teams plan, imagine that me and Andrea are working on a strategy together inside the project that has custom instructions, that has files, that has advanced voice mode, and then we both can work on it together, right? That's gold, right? And that's coming very soon, right? And that's what we want. Yeah. So that was custom GPTs and projects, right? You can find them there, tackle those. Let's tap into that question. Can I get that question onto the screen? Yes, this may be getting ahead of ourselves, but if there's a little time at the end, okay, it's a longer question. I would love to learn your take on number one. When will the updates come out so that we be able to use GPTs within projects so that it can remember all the conversation and documents that came within the project? Wow, I think that. I mean, if you're using your GPTs just for that and you don't have actions, you can already do that, right? Because you can have all that inside a project, right, Sarah? So you don't really need GPTs for that. The sad thing is that you might have to copy and paste your instructions, right? So you want to create a project that is a copy of your GPT, right? The only thing that GPTs has that projects doesn't have, right? At the end of the day, is actions, right? And if not, they're very, very similar, right? And the one thing that projects has that GPTs don't have is having this all in one place, like being a folder of things, right? And the advanced voice mode now, right? And some of the tools that you can tweak, run deep research and stuff like that, right? So they're a bit weird right now. I love when people ask me these questions because they believe that I kind of dictate the roadmap of OpenAI. Some call me Mr. ChatGPT, I know, and my team members, they laugh at me because they believe that I kind of, I don't know which oracles see all these updates, and I tell you exactly what's going to happen, and it kind of happens. In this case, I really don't have one, but I know that we're going to have GPT-5 very soon, right? Because also, if you think about what happened yesterday with Grok 4 from Elon Musk, I know Sam Altman is going to answer to this right away. And there was a lot of errors yesterday, right? For a while yesterday, we had errors in every product and every feature of ChatGPT, of OpenAI, had errors. And when usually that happens, something new comes, right? And I knew that I said that that GPT-5 was going to be a birthday gift for me, right? My wife asks, what do you want for your birthday, which is next week, right? Or it's on Monday. And I said, I mean, I don't want anything. I just want GPT-5. I want just new AI features, right? So I think that's coming, right? So I think that some of your questions, Sarah, will be almost like it won't even make sense because we'll have GPT-5 that can do everything, that can remember, that can do so much amazing stuff, right? And I hope that's coming very, 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 very soon, right? So I sadly can't tell you that, but copy paste your GPT instructions into projects. You can use it, and you'll get exactly what you're asking for from that first question. Until then, what is the best approach to create GPT to do something like building a sequence of different but related things that you want to agree on before you go to the next piece? Is it best to create one GPT that tries to all the aspects of your project piece by piece, like a value prop, then pain points, then opening sales script? Or is it better to create a chain of GPTs? I'd say, I mean, like if you, right, this is exactly what we said. So I think because I know where you work and what you're trying to achieve, right, at the end of the day. So what I would do is I definitely would do one GPT that does the plan, one GPT that executes the plan, one GPT that creates the ICP, one GPT that, does X, Y, Z, and you can kind of call them in if you want, or you can copy paste the things that you get out from each. Because what happens in that GPT, you get 8,000 characters for the custom instructions, and you're gonna get different files, right? So you're gonna get more power. So I definitely would do different GPTs for that, right? So that would be my my thing, right? Awesome. One more. I'm giving the so Jem. Oh, nice to see you, buddy. In giving the main instruction text in the custom settings, as you call it, how considerate should we be about the length of text? Do we have to consider the tokens and context window? In the instructions, yeah, you get 8,000 characters. You should be, of course, considerate of token windows, of context windows, right? But again, in different models, like we're using about 32K and so on. And I think context windows is kind of slowly disappearing if you think about it, because we have now memory, right? So when you have your ChatGPT, and I know you live in Turkey, I believe, right? Still, hopefully. So inside, right? Let me go to my thing very quickly just to show this final thing. And also, yeah, subscribe to our newsletter somewhere, maybe QR codes coming in or something like that, right? Yeah, so please do subscribe to that. You'll get much more info. Reply to that, ask questions. I love it. Share it with your friends, buddies, friends, colleagues, family, whatever, right? Go also onto my YouTube and so on. Next session is coming soon. I'm gonna say about that, right? So make sure to scan that QR code. So context windows are starting to be less and less important because we have reference saved memories and reference chat history, right? So actually, ChatGPT is learning a lot from different chats and saves it to memory. But also what you can do is you can ask about a previous conversation you had somewhere else, right? And it will bring information from that. So context windows are not being as important as they used to be, right? So slowly we're getting into a world where, hopefully unlimited kind of context windows coming, something like that, right? So hopefully that answers that question as well, right? Awesome. Yeah. So we said about the newsletter. What's next is our next session. Our next session is AI for marketing, how to plan and scale your impact. And we're trying something new because Fridays people are like, oh, I would just want to get out of the office. But I mean, we're not doing this to be boring at all, but we're going to try Wednesday. It's going to be Wednesday, the 23rd of July at 1 p.m. GMT. We're going to do AI for marketing, how to plan and scale your impact. Right, so the event should be already live, I believe. Is it live already? Potentially. So subscribe to it if it's live. Yes, it's live. Thank you. There's a QR code. What happened? There's a QR code. You can scan that for the next event. Right, subscribe to it. It's all free. Invite your buddies, as I said. Come with your questions. We tackle every question. Hope you enjoyed this. Thank you very much. I wish you guys an awesome weekend. Lots of custom GPTs and projects, right? You got some really cool new skills and powers. And see you on the 23rd, on that Wednesday event, right? If not, see you in the newsletter, see you on YouTube, see you on my LinkedIn, right? We're active also now in Instagram. We're active everywhere, right? We're here just to share the best with you guys. Thank you. Have an awesome